Hello, everybody. We got a chance to talk with Tom Kearns today. He's the head of design for Kia Motors America. And Tom, thanks for making the connection with us here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, John.
I see. It looks like you're at home right now. I got to believe your whole design staff is at home. How do you keep things going right now with this pandemic and everybody self-quarantining?
Yeah, it's a little challenging, or it was a little challenging to get set up at home. Obviously, we're not doing any full-size clay modeling right now because we need our studio for that. But we've got our digital sculptors set up at home. We've got our design team set up at home. As you can see, I'm here, and I got to say it was a little awkward at first, but we've in the past couple of weeks we really sort of got into a groove, and I have to say some of the designers have blossomed their creativity while being at home. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just being around their pets or their family or what it is, but some of the best work I've seen actually is sprouted up recently.
It's funny you mentioned that. We had an interview with Ralph Gilles at FCA, and he was saying the exact same thing. But what are you seeing specifically? What do you, when you look at some of the sketches that they're submitting to you or the work that they're submitting, what's really standing out in your mind?
Well, I mean, I just feel like maybe it's just the new environment. A lot of designers sort of have their signature style or their, sometimes in the business we say everyone's got one design. And so you kind of expect each designer, once you give them a design brief, you kind of know what to expect. But recently, I don't know what it is, but some of our designers have come up with things that I've never seen them, come up with before. And so I can't really put my finger on it. I wish I could, but maybe there's something to be learned from this situation and how we work in the future.
I hear a lot of people talking about that. Like you say, if you're a clay modeler, no, you're probably sitting home, not doing much work-wise, at least. And I've talked with other execs in the industry who've said they're amazed at how much work is actually getting done by people at home. So yeah, maybe we will change going forward.
Yeah, I think it's something, especially in our creative business. I think we really have to think about, what we can do to keep the environment and the surroundings for those creative type people fresh and let them freewheel a little bit more.
Well, let's talk about one of your most recent designs that has been out in the market right now, and it's been a whale of a vehicle for Kia. And of course, I'm talking about the new Telluride. When you were given that project to start working on, what was your overall goal? What did you want to achieve with this?
Well, our product planning people came to us and they wanted a full size, sort of the big brother to the Sorento. And initially we did a concept car. This is back in 2015. And we knew that the production program could potentially follow it. And, really at the time, we saw a lot of automakers taking their SUVs more car-like and more sleek and sporty. And we just felt we wanted to do something completely different. We wanted to go the opposite way. So we came up with this design brief, which we called big, bold, and boxy, really to sort of separate us from everything that was going on at the time.
Did you look at of course you looked at other SUVs, but were there any benchmarks that you set out there? And if so, can you name any of them?
We kind of, we've got a lot of car enthusiasts on our team, obviously. And a lot of the guys and gals are smitten with, the original SUV, and the icons. And I'm talking about like, I could say Jeep, obviously, but, even the original Ford Bronco, International Harvester Scout, original Range Rover. I think all these vehicles had a sort of a straightforwardness to them, and they had very upright side glass, a lot of side glass, very utilitarian and boxy, but it made them cool, you know. We love those vehicles, and so I mean, obviously we didn't go that extreme, but we took a little bit of that. We wanted to take a little bit of that feel into a new modern vehicle.
Yeah. Of course, you know, this shares a platform with the Hyundai Palisade. I'm sure so many of the hard points are the same. Mm-hmm. How did you make sure that you didn't end up with something that, at least in silhouette, was very similar?
Yeah, well, I think the one advantage we had is that we had the concept car was finished and was done, and so that really set for the company. That really set the theme for Kia. And so on the Hyundai side, you know, separate organization, separate design team. I think obviously they were aware of that, and so naturally they stayed away from it, and you know, and gave Kia, you know, the space to be what it is.
Yeah, the two are very distinctive from each other, and especially the rear roof treatment, and I guess that would be what the C and D pillars are. Not at all the same in those vehicles.
Sure. Yeah. And also the front face. I think they probably couldn't be more different. You know, the Palisade's got this big menacing grille, and it's got a lot of vertical height and a lot of expression on the face. But for Kia, we took, you know, a different approach, almost a little bit of anti-design, you know, and it shows a lot of restraint and very simple sort of architectural influence, you know, and more of a horizontal rectangle grille shape and these vertical stacked headlights, which is more very organized, I would say, instead of a lot of expression.
Mm-hmm. You know, let's talk about that front end, because there's a design cue that Kia is using right now, and you'll have the right terminology. But in the center of the grille, at the top and bottom center, there's like a little notch there. And that theme, to my eye, seems to be picked up on other places in the vehicle as well. Do you have a name for that notch, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We call it, originally we called it the tiger face or the tiger nose. Then, you know, sometimes we've referred to it as just the signature grille shape. And in the future, you know, that might evolve into not just the grille. But yeah, it's definitely something that we implemented years ago and tried to spread across our product line just to make the front face unique. And then, even on the top of the windshield where it meets the roof, we've got a similar notch there.
Yeah, I see that at the top corners of the windshield.
Correct. Yeah. And it's really just an opportunity to be in harmony with the face, and also it just gives us a little bit of unique look compared to everyone else.
Yeah, and it's also picked up in a way at the bottom of the B pillar too, with the DLO surround.
Yes, correct. Yeah. It's just that bright trim, that bright molding. You know, originally we had it just clean and straight, but we were playing around, just messing around with tape and cardboard one day in the studio, and someone put that on there, and it just gave it a little bit of unique character, and also related to the front face, as you mentioned.
That's got to be the fun part of your job, you know, getting a design and trying out different things. And it's got to be your gut feel. Your eye tells you, yeah, that works, or it doesn't.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of the time it's happy accidents too. You know, sometimes someone will put on a piece of tape on the clay or something, and unintentionally you're like, hey, wait, don't move that. That looks good. So sometimes you think maybe people think that designers are geniuses, but maybe it's just we're just lucky.
Maybe it's luck. Maybe it's subconsciousness too that's working through, and you're not even aware of it.
Correct.
Walk us through that process a little bit. I mean, these accidents, as you say, where somebody puts something on. Mm-hmm. Do you have meetings or gatherings around the property and try to figure out things, or it's just something that organically happens and somebody goes, hey, let's just do this?
Yeah, it's kind of organically. And if we're working on a digital model or a full-size clay model, a lot of times we'll just be walking around it, and it won't be formal. It'll be totally casual and getting a lot of sets of eyes on it. It's not like we have like one person saying, directing the whole thing, and exactly like it's really a combination of the team and people throwing out ideas and trying things, and hey, what about this? What about that? So it's kind of a little bit of trial and error sometimes.
That's fascinating. And I'm curious too, do you have designers who are sort of like SUV designers and others who are pass car designers, or does it not matter at all?
It doesn't really matter. I think more like some designers have strengths in some things, and some designers have other strengths. Let's say some are really good at like early stage creativity, strategy, long-term thinking. And then we have other designers that are more mature and are experienced and can take those ideas and execute them very well. And so I think it's a combination of maybe not so much the type of vehicle, but more of their strengths as just a designer and what they're good at.
Must be fun at Kia these days. I mean, there's such an emphasis on design, and you guys have transformed the image of the vehicle, at least out on the street, simply through the design. Yeah,
it's fun. I know I've been here at Kia for 15 years now, so I've seen a big change. And when I remember when I first came here, a lot of friends and family were like, wait, why are you going there? What are you doing? What are you doing? And so it's been a fun journey just to see the company grow, the brand grow, the design playing a bigger role in the product. It's been a fun journey.
Well, it's fun, but it's you can see it all the way to the bottom line. I mean, sales of Kia have been red hot. I mean, you guys are on a tear right now. So I know there's a team effort, and a lot of it all goes to the team, but kudos to you, Tom, for what you guys are doing in design there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks for your time today, too.
Thanks for having me on. It was a nice break to get away and to chat with you.